Hello and welcome, my dear students. Third prep, second term, and the pronunciation of lessons 5 and 6 vocabulary, unit 10. معرض أو عرض exhibition قبة سماوية planetarium مركبة vehicle ال H silent vehicle مصدر source المحطة الفضائية الدولية the International Space Station مرشد guide اتجاهات directions سكة حديد railway البحر المتوسط Mediterranean بحار sailor حول around واضح clear دولة روسيا Russia جريدة newspaper قارة أوروبا Europe الإي الأولى silent إسباني الجنسية Spanish يسافر أو سفر travel وإذا كانت verb فالماضي traveled مستو أو مسطح flat شخص من مدينة فينيسيا الإيطالية يعني فينيسي Venetian دائرة circle يظهر appear رجل إنجليزي الجنسية Englishman قارة آسيا Asia
Perseverance.
إعلامي أو إخباري informative مرصد هابل الفلكي Hubble إنجاز achievement تقريبا nearly كويكب أو كوكب سيار asteroid يوميات أو مفكرة يومية diary وليست diary تاريخ date ضخم huge رحلة journey وليست journey مثابرة أو عزيمة perseverance مجس أو آلة probe المواصلات العامة public transport فائز winner مدخل entry conjugation of irregular verbs يرسم drawn يجلب أو يحضر brought يغادر leave left يفهم understood يصدم أو يضرب hit collocations يرسم خرائط make maps يجري مكالمات هاتفية make phone calls يدون ملاحظات make notes يتأكد make sure يرسم خرائط draw maps يعني بتساوي make maps draw maps يحصل على الاتجاهات get directions get directions. يسترد أو يعيد. Take back. Take back. Listening and reading. النصوص التي وردت بها الكلمات. Guide. This is a very interesting photo. Do you know what it is? Lina. It's the moon. Guide. That's right. This is a photo of the moon, but it is an unusual photo. This isn't what we see when we look into the sky at night. This is the far side of the moon. NG. So this is the side of the moon we can't see from Earth. Guide. That's right. No one had seen this side of the moon before 1959. That's when the Russian spacecraft Luna 3 took the first photos of it. As soon as the photos were taken, they appeared in newspapers around the world. The photos weren't very clear, but everyone was very excited to see them. Then in 1965, Russia sent Zond 3, another spacecraft, to orbit the moon. It took 25 photos and they were much clearer. To 1967, the USA sent spacecrafts to orbit the moon and take photos. They used these to create maps of the moon. At the same time, Russia created maps using the photos from Zone 3. NG. Were all the photos of the far side of the moon taken by spacecraft? Guide. No. Soon after the maps were created, astronauts from the Apollo 8 spacecraft became the first people to see the far side of the moon. They took photos of the moon as they orbited it. Lena, have any spacecraft landed on the far side of the moon? Guide. Yes. NASA sent a spacecraft to the far side of the moon in 1962, but it broke when it landed. A long time after this, in 2019, a Chinese spacecraft successfully landed on the far side of the moon. Reading. The history of maps. 100s. Ptolemy draws one of the first maps. It shows the area around the Mediterranean. 1100s, Al-Idrisi from North Africa draws maps in a book called Tabula Rogeriana. Tabula Rogeriana. It shows the world as a circle. 1500s, a Spanish sailor, Juan de la Cosa, draws the first map to show America. Girardus Mercator finds a way to draw the round world on flat paper. 1800s, roads and railways make travel easier. Maps become smaller and better. 1950s, the first satellite photos are taken of the Earth and the maps give much more information. 2005, people start to use maps on their phones and computers. They use satellites to get directions. The International Space Station. What is the International Space Station? The International Space Station is a huge spacecraft 70 kilometers above the Earth. It's a place where astronauts live and work when they go into space. Most astronauts stay in the space station for about 6 months. How fast does it travel? The space station orbits the Earth every day. It travels at 27,000 kilometers an hour. That means that it goes around the Earth every 90 minutes. It's one of the brightest objects in the sky, and you can see it without using a telescope. When was it built? Lots of countries worked together to make the space station, and astronauts from all around the world have stayed on it. The first piece of the space station went into space in 1998. Since the first astronauts arrived in 2000, more than 200 astronauts from 19 countries have stayed there. What is life like on the space station? Life on the space station is different from life on Earth in many ways. In space, washing, sleeping, eating can be difficult, but communication isn't a problem. Astronauts can send emails or make phone calls to their families back home. Is a large rock, which is a large rock that's flying through space. The spacecraft called Osiris-Rex took small rocks from Bennu and will take them back to the Earth in 2023. This was an amazing achievement. Bennu is more than 300 million kilometers from the Earth, but it is very small. It is only 510 meters from one side to the other. Osiris-Rex left the Earth in 2016 and had orbited Bennu for nearly 2 years before it found a place to land safely. Then in 2021, Osiris-Rex left Bennu for its journey home. This will be around 2.3 billion kilometers. Because the spacecraft must orbit the Sun twice before it can land on the Earth. So why has Osiris-Rex made it this difficult journey? Scientists think that the rocks from Bennu can help them to understand how the Earth was made. Scientists also think that understanding Bennu will help them know where the asteroid is going. It's possible that it will hit the Earth, although not for many years. My Trip to the Planetarium by Hassan al-Sayyid. Last year I went to the planetarium in Alexandria with my cousin Magdi. I was really excited because I hadn't been to a planetarium before. Magdi lives in Alexandria, so he had visited the planetarium a few times with his family. We saw a really interesting film about ancient Egypt. We learned about how the ancient Egyptians had studied the stars to find out when the Nile flooded. They had even used the stars to help them build the pyramids. After the film, we went to an exhibition about Mars. Do you know a space robot had explored Mars before the end of the 20th century? It landed on Mars in 1997. We had an amazing time. We were there all morning, but when we left, we hadn't seen everything. We hadn't seen everything. I'd like to back there again one day. Important expressions and prepositions. يتضمن حقائق. Include facts. فوق كوكب الأرض. Above the earth. ينطلق إلى الفضاء. Go into space. يظل في محطة الفضاء. Stay on the space station. الجانب البعيد لي أو الجانب الآخر لي. The far side of. يدور حول go around، مختلف عن different from، على كوكب الأرض on earth، بطرق مختلفة in many ways، أو get the right answer. بمجرد أن as soon as، في نفس توقيت at the same time as، مباشرة بعد soon after، يهبط على land on، land on. تأكد من صحة أفكارك check your idea، check your idea. يشير إلى refer to، يجد طريقة لي find a way to، يتقدم للأمام move forward، يستخدم الأقمار الصناعية لرسم الخرائط use satellites for maps. رحلة العودة the journey back، يعيد أو يعود ب bring back، بعد وقت طويل a long time after، مركبة فضائية آلية غير مأهولة a robot space vehicle، a robot space vehicle. Thank you very much.